Good morning, honorable members. We shall now have an opportunity for silent prayers and meditation. Thank you so much. We may all sit. Good morning, honorable members. Morning. Good morning. Yeah, today is a real good morning because we've got a surprise for you anyway. It must be a good morning. Honorable members, I take this opportunity to greet all of us, starting with the Premier, Dr. Popira Matuba in absentia. We know now that today he has sent a delegated MEC to come and respond on our behalf, but we must acknowledge the leader of government business, Honorable Makamu, as the one that is leading the delegation for now, is as well as other responsibilities. Then he'll advise us in terms of who's going to respond on behalf of the executive when he's attending to those activities. But that you started with us, we really appreciate. Acknowledge all the MECs that are here today. Deputy Speaker, Meg Grace Tebogo Mamrovela, you are acknowledged. The Deputy Chair of Chairs, you acknowledge Honorable Ngoveni. The Chief Whip himself is here and well dressed for the day of today. And Honorable Mkhonyana, you can see that the whipper is here. We acknowledge the whippery. We must acknowledge all members of the legislature, acknowledge the leaders of opposition parties that are here. You are warmly welcomed. The secretary today, due to other commitments, is represented by the COO, Mehomu, who's leading the delegation of the team in front. You are warmly welcome, Mehomu. I must acknowledge the departments that are here. We have the Director General of the province. We appreciate your presence, DG, because indeed the issue of SCOPA are the ones that I know that you have got the interest at heart to make sure that Limpopo goes to the highest trajectory where we must be able to be better off and spend the money of the province to the best ability to make sure that the people of the province get what they deserve. We must as well acknowledge other departments that are here, as well as the AG. Your presence here is warmly welcomed. We know there are people who are in the gallery. You are warmly welcomed. We must as well welcome all those that are in the on social media platform following us. This day is the day of the chair of SCOPA and her committee, Me Esther Mukwele. It's still your day. So we know that this is your day. So on that note, Mr. Mukwele, you acknowledged with your committee. You have done the hard work that we might not have done in the previous terms, that you are able to beat the deadlines. And for that, we acknowledge the good work you are doing as the committee. Continue to do the hard work that you are doing. Thank you so much. Without wasting time, we'll proceed to motions without notice in terms of House Rule 145. I want to check if there are motions. I know that some parties have got motions, some don't have. We have a motion from the ANC, Honorable Chempspur. The platform is yours.
Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makuripecha, I rise on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House notes the decisive and progressive interventions that the provincial government has crafted to provide financial assistance to the institution of traditional leadership in this province. In its ordinary sitting for July 2025, the Executive Council of the Limpopo Provincial Government, led by Premier Dr. Popira Matuba, undertook a comprehensive review of the financial assistance provided for the inauguration and funeral ceremonies of senior traditional leaders. This has never been done since the 2009-2010 financial year, leaving a gap of 15 years in between. This once-off grant is meant to reinforce the importance of honoring the cultural practices and contributions of traditional leadership in this province. Traditional leadership remains the bane upon which the ANC government is laden. It remains one of the key strategic institutions that has helped this country's transformative agenda, and government is committed to maintain its existence. We welcome this move as the African National Congress in this House, as it bodes well with the preservation of our African culture and traditions, which were nearly eroded by the arrival of the hated evil system of colonialism on the continent. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Medley.
Thanks very much, Honorable Dr. Speaker. I, Honorable Medley, hereby support the move as proposed by Honorable Supur.
Thank you so much. We'll now proceed to member statements. Honorable Livia. Kiriboni, Honorable.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Dr. Speaker, and a blessed morning to you. Honorable Speaker, we want to present here in the August House the congestion on Nelson Mandela Drive. The Honorable Dr. Speaker, as the ANC in this August House, we want to bring to the attention of the MEC of Transport and Community Safety in our province, Manana Susanna Violet Machia, that the traffic congestion that is taking place on the Nelson Mandela Drive in Polokwane every day during peak hours needs to be addressed. The Honorable Dr. Speaker, we commend and we welcome the development meant to accommodate the infrastructure for bus rapid transport system, Leeto la Polokwane. We want to request that the department should quickly instill additional manpower to manage the flow of traffic on that stretch of road. It is disheartening, Honorable Dr. Speaker, to witness the frustration that confront our people on a daily basis as they commute between their homes and workplaces during peak hours. And we know the patience that most of our drivers have. We therefore would like to call on the MEC for the Department of Transport and Community Safety to engage with the counterparts in the Polokwane local municipality and assist with thousands of people that they have recently just added in their workforce. And I thank you, the Honorable Dr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member Livia. Just to remind honorable members on where we are in terms of the order paper. We dealt with motions without notice, which was item 2 on Rule 145. I've jumped item 3, which is the notices of motion in line with Rule 146. Where I was sitting, there was none, unless if I missed it by mistake. But where I was sitting, there was none. That's why I jumped immediately to item 4, which is now member statements. Honorable Livia was reading on item 4, which is member statements in line with Rule 199 for record purposes. So if we all agree in terms of the order paper where we are, I will now allow Honorable Wilson. You are on the list.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I think the MEC Makamu knew this was coming. Honourable members, the DA is concerned but not surprised by the document circulating widely on social media, which allegedly exposes a list of 28 tenders totaling over 724 million linked to high-level municipal officials in the Polokwane municipality. The spreadsheet outlines bid numbers and contract values, most of which appear to have been awarded during 2022 and 2023. The document suggests serious impropriety involving the executive mayor, John Mpe, and the municipal manager. According to the document, a number of tenders were awarded to foreign-owned companies, while others allegedly involve entities with links to the executive mayor, the municipal mayor, his partner, and close associates. Where there is smoke, there is often a fire. We therefore call for the appointment of an independent and transparent investigative body to investigate this matter without delay. Furthermore, MEC, we hope that you will ensure that the findings be compiled in a detailed report, which must be made public to ensure full transparency and accountability, particularly as public funds are involved. I thank you.
In the previous meeting, we have indicated that we need to find a way of following the rules in terms of how we deal with matters that are members not falling within this August House, outside the space. But we know that we're not able to deal with some matters that need to be dealt with somewhere. I hope this member statement, the MEC will respond, but will not respond on the executive mayor per se, because the executive mayor is not part of us. He will not be given an opportunity to respond for himself. So if there are matters, the DA can still write formally to the MEC on the matters that affect the municipality and the community there. Obviously, the MEC will be able to do justice to it. I'm just, by next meeting of the sitting, we're going to outline on both motions, member statements, so that we're able to know what is it that we can do on member statement, what is that we can do on motions, so that we don't just bring everything the manner it is. So as the Rules Committee, we're working on that matter. Thank you so much. We'll now allow the executive to respond on the two member statements that have been presented. Honorable Manana Susana Violet Mate, the MEC responsible for Department of Transport and Community Safety. The podium is yours, ma'am.
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. Let me greet everyone who's in the House and stand on the protocol that has already been established. I'm here to respond to the statement made by Honorable Livia, the Chairperson of Transport and Community Safety. Before I respond, let me first appreciate the efforts she took in identifying the problem that is there along Mandela Drive, while others will also just go and look and just keep quiet. So I appreciate your efforts, Madam Livia. As the department, we have already engaged with the municipality to deal with the congestion at Mandela Drive. During our engagement, we agreed on the following. One, for the municipality to identify alternative routes for motorists and mark the identified routes with proper signage to guide the motorists. Secondly, to open both lanes during peak hours. It means during peak hours, they have to stop with the maintenance and allow the 2 lanes to operate. And again, increase points duty officers. Here we are going to supply them with duty officers to help them in directing the motorists while using the Mandela Drive during peak hours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manan Mate. We'll allow the MEC for Coxstar, Honorable Makamu, to respond on the member statement by the DA.
Thanks very much, Honorable Dr. Speaker, and greetings to colleagues, MECs, and the entire House. I think I will ride on your guidance, Honorable Dr. Speaker, that definitely the matter is concerning to everybody else. And I can confirm, Honorable Speaker, that I have already written to the Executive Mayor of Polokwane, because those are faceless allegations as we speak, that a comprehensive report be given, then we'll be able to take it from there based on the information. But we join here to say the allegations are so wide, but the fact remains that it's faceless. There's nobody who's taking responsibility on it. I tried to follow the numbers. I'm not an investigator, but I wanted to convince myself if there's something to worry. But we'll be able to come back to the House and be able to respond once we have got facts from the Executive Mayor. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. Like we have indicated, we've got the portfolio committee of Coxstar in this house. There are matters that should still be via that to allow the MECs not necessarily, and not only the MEC of Coxstar, we're just saying to all members, as and when you do the member statements, remember you still have portfolio committees that you belong to, that you must still raise the issues through those portfolio committees. But as well, this platform is yours. We'll only provide the guidance on how we need to fall within the rules so that we are not found wanting a member who doesn't sit here taking us to court that I'm told the legislature was discussing about me in my absence. Because that can be litigious and we might have difficulties as the legislature to handle. Thank you so much. We now proceed in terms of the order paper, in terms of the tabling of reports. There are no reports. We'll move directly to orders of the day. Honorable MEC, you are recused. You are recused formally. You will just give me a note on who will be standing on behalf of yourself and the Premier. We'll follow the same route that we followed, that will allow the debates to proceed. Towards the end, the person who's delegated by the Premier will come and respond for all the debates at the same time. So we hope the person that you are giving us from the executive will respond, because today the Premier had very serious commitments. She couldn't be here. Unfortunately, the leader of government business as well, you can hear they are calling him from another meeting. He was trying to log in when he's in here and it's not possible. So we're officially releasing him. He just gave me a note of who will respond on behalf of EXCO for all the reports. Without wasting time, can we call upon the chair of the committee to come and tell us which reports she wants us to consider and adopt as the legislature? Thank you. Over to you, Mayor Esther Mukweli, the chair of the portfolio committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makoma Makrupeja, the Deputy Speaker, Member Mrovena, the Chief Whip, Honorable Mkhonyana, the Deputy Chair of Chairs, the members, honorable members from the opposition, honorable members from the ruling party, the WIPARI, the AGSA, our officials who are here, our guests in the gallery, and all members of the province and beyond who are watching from different media platforms. Good morning. As SCOPA, we stand here to present for consideration and adoption of the following reports. The first report is the report on the Auditor-General on the financial statements and performance information on Vote 1, Office of the Premier, for the financial year ending the 31st March 2024. We move, Honorable Speaker.
Any seconder? Members, let's do it quicker, please. Honorable Katu. My left-hand side is allowed to second as well. Can we now proceed, Chair?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor-General on the financial statements and performance information on Vote 3, Department of Education for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Seconder. Honorable Mnisi.
Thanks, Madam Speaker, Dr. Makoma Makupechi. I stand to support the report as moved by the chairperson.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Speaker, we present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information on vote for Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Any seconder? I was looking at the left. There is no hand. Honorable Wilson.
Let me assist you, Honourable Speaker. I stand to move, to second the motion. I'm now standing to second the motion.
I'm now standing to move. Thank you so much, Honorable Wilson. We now proceed to item, Chair.
Honorable Speaker, we present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information on vote 5, the Provincial Treasury for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Seconders? I saw Honorable Mataba was raising a hand.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to second the report as presented by Honorable Chair. Thank you very much.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and the performance information of Vote 6, the Department of Economic Development, Environment and Tourism for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Any seconder, Dr. Slani?
Thank you, the beautiful doctor. The descendant of Chugudeni and Masala now. I stand here to second the Honorable Chairperson for Standing Committee on Public Account, Memukwele, when he's moving to consider her report.
Doctor, thank you so much. Let's proceed to Honorable Mkwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information on Vote 7, Department of Health for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Any seconder? Mayor Mantata Mahasela.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makoma Makurupeji. I rise to support the move by the chairperson of SCOPA, Honorable S.T. Mukweli. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information of Vote 9, Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Any seconder to the report? Honorable Nempomboluni.
Ndo liwa mudzulachidulo pochipikara ndikota kuwa kutikeza likumeza lo nekedzwaho nga mudzulachidulo wa SCOPA ndo liwo.
Thank you so much. Can we now proceed to Chair?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and my apologies. I skipped another vote, which I'll go back to 7.1.7. presenting for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statement and performance information on Vote 8, Department of Transport and Community Safety for the financial year ending 2023-2024. We move.
Thank you so much. Any seconder, Honorable Libya?
Thank you, Dr. Speaker. I rise to support the report as presented by the chairperson of SCOPA on Vote 8, the Department of Transport and Community Safety.
Thank you so much. There's a confusion. Which one did you jump, chairperson?
It was Vote 8. And I went back to it. That is the one that has just been seconded now. Can I continue? Thank you very much. Now I'm back on the line, Honorable Speaker, presenting for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information on Vote 10, Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for the financial year ending the 31st March 2024. We move.
Any seconder? Honorable Spobel, at some point you were raising your hand.
Nakhetsa Manana Speaker, I stand to second the adoption of the report as presented by the chair.
Thank you so much, ma. We now proceed, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The last one is the last one for consideration and adoption is the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and the performance information on Vote 11, the Department of Cogstar for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Thank you so much, Chair. I must indicate to the House that there's one vote that's not here. The vote is social development. The reason we must remind you that the social development annual report was withdrawn because there were issues with the AG. They're still finalizing the issues with the AG. Therefore, they could not appear to SCOPA on the basis of that. But secondly, you shouldn't be surprised that the legislature is not part of the report because of due to FAMPLA. We're not using the same legislation with the PFMA and FAMPLA, so the report will not appear here. So we'll now proceed, honorable members, to the speakers list. According to this, we'll refer to the speakers list. Oh, it was not seconded. Honorable Matlu.
Ngiyalebonga Speaker Khaiso Kaunaka. Ke mochakata zo ba zo apileo mulula kutulo wa SCOPA vele ke zo support ga ngazona ngiyalebonga.
Ke tsa mulobedi wa kwa mulobedi lo batha. I will now go to the speakers list. The speakers list, our person who's opening the debate is Honorable Nempumbuluni. Honorable Nempumbuluni, Tambeleni Colbert.
Thank you, Dr. Speaker. Honorable Madam Speaker, Honorable Premier in absentia, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Leader of Opposition, Leader of Government, Honorable Members,
Good morning. On the 20th July 1956, a freedom fighter, a struggle activist, and operative of the African National Congress military wing, Umkhonto weSizwe, was born in Mamelodi, Pretoria. That is Solomon Mahlangu. Solomon Mahlangu was brutally executed on the 6th of April 1979 in Pretoria Central Prison by the apartheid regime. His last words are, I quote, "My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom. Tell my people that I love them." The dawning of democracy in South Africa on the 27th April 1994 signaled and witnessed the beginning of the fruits of freedom. However, the underspending of budgets by departments is not the fruit of freedom. Similarly, the mismanagement of funds, unfinished projects by some service providers, and not fully utilizing grants are not indeed the fruits of freedom. In fact, President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, in addressing the parliament, described underspending of budgets by departments as an act of treason and a betrayal of the people of South Africa. During the engagement with the Department of Education, we heard and considered evidence that the department did not recognize immovable tangible capital assets in accordance with the Chapter 11 of Modified Cash Standard, Capital Assets. The AG identified completed and in-use assets that are incorrectly classified as work in progress. We noted that immovable tangible capital assets disclosed in Note 40 to the financial statements were understated by 1.7 million. The work in progress was overstated by the same amount in Note 40.2 of the financial statement. We recommend that the executing authority institute consequence management against the accounting officer for understating immovable assets by 1.7 million. The committee noted and considered evidence that performance of the program funded by the Litsima and the Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program were not evaluated as required by Section 12(5) of the Division of Revenue Act. This program is important and supposed to assist emerging farmers in the production of food to feed the nation. If it is not properly evaluated, it might result in unwanted expenditure. Accounting officer must ensure that grants meant for this program are properly managed. The committee recommended that the executing authority must take appropriate action against the accounting officer for not evaluating the Litsima and Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program as required by Section 12(5) of DORA. The committee further recommended that the executing authority must put in place measures to prevent the recurrence of this anomaly. We noted, Dr. Speaker, and considered the evidence that the Department of Health was defended in multiple lawsuits in the previous financial years. The ultimate outcome of these matters cannot presently be determined, and no provision for any liability that may result has been made in the financial statement. The committee recommended that the executing authority must review all contingent liabilities and take steps to reduce them. And again, the committee further recommended that the executing authority must make provision for any liability that may be encountered by the department. Dr. Speaker, the report of the Public Service Commission revealed that there were employees who perform work of their official work of employment. This type of action by officials is irregular in nature and tantamount to double dipping. And the departments that are affected by employees who are receiving remuneration out of public service must ensure that consequence management is instituted against them. While we appreciate, Dr. Speaker, the Dikherekhere program, which is assisting here in Limpopo, the committee observed during the engagement with public works, roads and infrastructure that some legacy projects were abandoned by service providers in the province. Some of the projects were visited by the National Council of Provinces in September in 2023. The department must ensure that these projects are completed. The committee recommended that the executing authority must, in collaboration with the state attorney and departmental legal service, ensure that appropriate action is taken against the service providers who abandon the legacy projects. Further, that the executing authority must put in place measures to prevent the recurrence of this anomaly. Dr. Speaker, as members of SCOPA, who are doing their role in oversight and holding executive accountable without fear or favor, we must also work without being compromised and defocused. And I therefore unconditionally support the adoption of the reports presented in this House with all the recommendations by SCOPA. Muraro, Africa Chipembe. God bless you all.
Riri vafumakazi ti roliwa nga manda. Thank you so much. We now proceed to the next speaker. Namusi Rokuda Wamba Chivenda Fanoni. We now proceed to Honorable Wilson.
Thank you, Speaker. I will be reading on behalf of the Honourable Smuller today. Speaker, earlier this week, when we considered the 2023 SCOPA reports, we as the Democratic Alliance reminded this House that good governance fosters stability, prosperity, and justice, while bad governance breeds instability, poverty, and division. That the values which distinguish good from bad governance, accountability, transparency, responsibility, oversight, the rule of law, and effectiveness are not abstract ideals, but constitutional imperatives enshrined in our democratic order. And if these values had been and were consistently upheld in Limpopo, we should, 30 years into our democracy, be a province marked by stability and growing prosperity. Unfortunately, we are not. If we are truly committed to restoring good governance in Limpopo, we must break from a culture of reckless impunity and shift decisively to one of consequence, discipline, and accountability. Yet, Speaker, the 2024 SCOPA reports before us today demonstrate that we remain far from this goal. A culture of impunity persists. A comparison between the 2023 and 2024 reports reveals clear and continuing systemic failure to act on audit findings, to implement consequence management, and to improve financial governance. Year after year, the same audit findings recur, with minimal remedial action and no clear evidence of disciplinary outcomes. Disturbingly, there is little indication that either the Provincial Treasury or the Office of the Premier is effectively driving improvements across departments. Speaker, we continue to see irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. 9 million in irregular expenditure for the debt, 586 million in irregular and 115 million in fruitless expenditure in Coxter alone. Ongoing lapses in contract and performance management, particularly with respect to LEADER and the MMSEZ. As with the 2023 reports, departments continue to ignore SCOPA resolutions adopted by this House, highlighting a dangerous disregard for compliance and consequence management. We are also seeing audit regressions and lack of progress towards clean audit. Departments such as Ledet, Transport and Coxter have either stagnated at unqualified opinions with findings or regressed from previously better positions. While we welcome the clean audit received by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, this itself did not prevent the recent debacle where Limpopo school athletes were forced to withdraw from the South African Championships due to departmental bungling. Speaker, the report points to weak planning, underperformance and underspending. The Department of Transport underspent by 48 million, and Coxter failed to spend 59 million earmarked for upgrading of informal settlements. Institutional accountability is absent. There is scant evidence of disciplinary processes or the recovery of funds from implicated officials, despite PFMA and Treasury regulations. Audit action plans remain ineffective or unimplemented. Speaker, the DA is particularly concerned by the chronic governance failures tolerated by Ledet and LEADER in entities such as GNT and the MMSEZ. The systematic collapse evidenced at Coxter with historical audit issues, ballooning irregular expenditure, housing corruption investigations, and mounting litigation risks. These are concerning. These reports paint a picture of systematic fiscal mismanagement and institutional decay in Limpopo. The time has come for this House to consider targeted oversights and inquiries into failing departments, like Coxter and Ledet. The alternative is that they should be flagged for direct intervention by the National Treasury. As the DA, we do support the adoption of the departmental SCOPA reports and their recommendations, but we must be prepared to hold the Premier and respective MECs accountable for their implementation. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much. At least everybody's managing his time. Honorable Swapela, the Wipari, Me, Sianego, Tumelo, Swapela.
Ke a leboga, Speaker. Greetings to the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Metebo Mamrovela, the Honorable Chief Whip and the Wipari, the Deputy Chair of Chairs, the Leader of Government Business, members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of this House, Galidu Medisha. The Standing Committee on Public Accounts has observed the several irregularities that occurred within the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure. During its engagements with the department, the committee was informed that no appropriate measures were taken to prevent irregular expenditure, totaling to an amount of 800 million in the 2023-2024 financial year, as outlined in note 31 of the annual financial statements. This failure is in direct contravention with Section 38 of the PFMA and Treasury regulations. A significant portion of this irregular expenditure came from household contracts in which bidders failed to meet minimum qualifying criteria, yet they were not disqualified. The committee further considered that from the AG that no sufficient audit evidence could be provided to confirm that disciplinary steps were taken against the officials that were responsible for this irregular expenditure. This was largely due to the failure to conduct investigations into the irregularities. Moreover, as the committee, we noted that there's certain quotations that were not awarded in an economical or cost-effective manner, and that the prices of goods and services were not reasonable, contravening Section 38 of the PFMA. The committee raised serious concerns regarding inconsistencies in the evaluation of tenders. Specifically, it was found that tenders did not meet the minimum functionality threshold and they were not disqualified. In some cases, the tenders that met functionality threshold were not evaluated further as required by Regulation 5.7. Certain bids were also awarded based on pre-qualification criteria that was different from those initially advertised, violating regulations as well, Regulation 4.1 and 4.2. These findings relate primarily to routine maintenance projects and reflect serious procedural and compliance failures in the department's procurement processes. As a result, as the committee, we recommended strongly that the executing authority must take decisive and corrective action against the accounting officers for one, failing to prevent these irregular expenditures, not instituting disciplinary measures against responsible officials. Thirdly, awarding quotations in a non-economical and ineffective manner. The committee stresses that the irregular expenditure poses a risk to service delivery and public trust. It undermines value for money principle and it erodes accountability. It also diverts scarce public resources away from developmental priorities. With regards to revenue collection concerns relating to the Department of Public Works and Health, the committee considered evidence showing that appropriate systems for the identification, collection, recording, and reconciliation of revenue were not implemented. Additionally, measures were not taken to collect monies that are due to the state, contrary to Section 38 again of the PFMA. The committee wants to emphasize that departments responsible for revenue collection must uphold this function with integrity and efficiency, as these funds are critical for enabling the government to deliver essential services. Weak revenue management not only affects the cash flow, but it compromises the department's ability to meet their constitutional obligations. Therefore, we also recommend that executing authorities must continue to take corrective action against the accounting officers who fail to implement adequate revenue management systems, and that departments must develop a proper internal controls and monitoring plans to strengthen revenue performance and compliance. With regards to asset management and disposal in the Department of Health, the committee noted findings by the Auditor-General that the Department of Health failed to assess whether any educational or training institutions required computer equipment prior to disposal, as required by the regulations as well. Furthermore, the committee found that the department lacked proper systems to safeguard and maintain assets in violation of Section 38 of the PFMA. Consequently, the committee recommends that the executing authority must act against the accounting officer for failing to verify the reusable or disposed assets by educational institutions, and for failing to implement adequate controls for assets safeguarding maintenance, for asset safeguarding and maintenance. With regards to general oversight and consequence management, Honorable Speaker, the committee must report to this House that in most of the reports that were presented, there was a clear failure by officials to carry out duties they were entrusted with. Despite these failures, accounting officers did not institute any consequence management, and the overall attitude appeared indifferent and lacking accountability. The committee wants to reiterate that the failure to act against non-compliance emboldens further misconduct, and it will weaken the constitutional integrity of these departments. Accountability must be enforced consistently and transparently. With regards to the Limpopo Economic Development, Environment, and Tourism, we noted that the department did not adhere to the preferential procurement policy framework and associated regulations during their bid evaluations. As a result, an irregular expenditure amounting to 9 million was incurred, as disclosed in Note 26 of the department's annual financial statements. This irregular expenditure could have been avoided had due procurement processes been followed. The committee recommends that an action must be taken and that there must be steps taken to regularize the irregular expenditure in accordance with the applicable financial prescripts. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee underscores the importance of sound financial management, strict adherence to procurement laws, and consequence management. Irregular expenditure is not a mere technicality. It is a direct threat to service delivery. Therefore, departments must act proactively and decisively to prevent and respond to financial mismanagement. The committee remains committed to ensuring that these matters are addressed and that accountability is upheld across all the departments and public institutions. Ke a leboga.
Thank you so much, Ma. And as well, saving our time, you still had 1 minute, 25 seconds. Well done. The EFF is not here, we'll jump. We'll now call the chair of the committee to come and close the debate.
Na le mphapathele matsoke le lemoile. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. We write on the protocol established this morning. Honorable Speaker, we are back again to emphasize the importance and the role that the Office of the Premier and the Provincial Treasury should play in making sure that there is improved service delivery and finance management. On Tuesday, we presented the picture that outlined the resolutions implementation by all the departments at the end of 2022-2023. The situation is still the same, remember, and you may even note that some of the issues have not improved because during the 2 financial years, there was no a presentation to the House. So some of them, they are recurring. But the situation is still the same, that we have 244 resolutions not resolved, and those which are fully resolved are 688. Honorable Speaker, our reports are generated from AGSA findings based on the sampled programs. We depend on both the institutions, the OTP and the PT, as key accountability driver across the departments. So that when the findings of the AG don't speak anything for a particular program which is not sampled. The PT and the Office of the Premier must get in to ensure that issues, even if they are not raised by the AG, are addressed from the different programs. They must play the oversight role on critical matters that may not have been raised by the AG, like I've indicated. These two institutions are not just technical advisors, but also guardians of performance and financial discipline. When departments and public entities fail to act on audit findings or repeat the same errors, we question whether these oversight enablers are fulfilling their roles effectively and whether consequences are enforced at all levels. We met with these two institutions during the public hearings on the 28th of March 2025, and we want to emphasize some of the matters that we raised with the two institutions. We said the OTP must implement the findings in all concluded forensic investigations conducted in the province. We must see the actions in this regard. OTP must also lead the process of reducing the litigations in all the departments in the province. The PT to strengthen its irregular expenditure committee to assist in assessing and condoning the irregular expenditures in line with the irregular expenditure framework. On fruitless expenditure, we can say we see departments that are recovering money from the responsible officials. Let's see the progress on our quarterly meetings on these issues. Because fruitless and wasteful expenditure within the province, there are a lot of, or a huge amount of money that was supposed to be for service delivery that is going through the drain, and that money must be recovered. For example, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development lost 1.9 million, which is paid to the service which was never rendered. And then as of now, we are struggling. The department is struggling with legal matters to ensure that that service provider brings back the money, which is a loss again because you incur costs for legal advisors and the courts. The OTP to lead other departments and public entities in enforcing consequence management. The OTP should also monitor the spending and the payment of the board members in all public entities. The PT must put systems in place to continuously monitor the underspending of the budget and conditional grants. The Department of Education, for example, on material irregularities, paid 21.8 million to SARS as a penalty and interest after failure to withhold income tax on leave gratuity, on employees upon retirement between August 2009 and August 2015. That was because they used a wrong code, and as a result, during the hearings, we heard that the official who was using the wrong code was charged, even though he or she was not given an instruction that the new code must be used. We believe that such issues will never be repeated. We also believe that, or request the OTP and the provincial treasury to assist the Department of Education, as they are still having matters that are emanating from Section 101B that are still reflecting in their records. can they be assisted, because some of those records cannot be traced, as the people who were intervening were not even from the province. The OTP and the PT must carry out monitoring and evaluation role and empower SCOPA to enhance the provincial governments to improve the financial performance. We are for compliance with the PFMA, treasury regulations and other regulations. We are for good governance. We are for service delivery through the achievement of planned targets. We are for job creation, and all these things can only be achieved if we work together. Monitoring, evaluation, and implementation of house resolution. This issue cannot be overemphasized, that it is not a choice. It's a must that these resolutions must be implemented, especially after they've been adopted by the House. Because if you are not implementing, it means you are undermining this august House. On respecting the audit outcomes or the audit findings and the Auditor-General of South Africa, which is mandated by the Constitution, it is also very critical that, Honorable Speaker, that all the departments and public entities respect the AGS audit findings. Disregarding AGS findings is not just a disrespect, but also the disrespect of the Constitution. And we are also saying the AGSA often highlight key findings like irregular expenditure, fruitless and wasteful expenditures, poor financial annual financial statements, poor supply chain management, non-compliance with the regulations. So these are the issues that are giving us the negative outcomes. And if they can be taken into consideration, like I've indicated on Tuesday, we have a potential to improve our audit outcomes. Our message is that supporting departments, monitoring house resolution, respecting our audit findings, and enforcing implementation, we will be able to, are the key pillars in accountable government. Office of the Premier and PT must be a driving force behind compliance, integrity, and performance in the Limpopo administration. SCOPA as the watchdog, we keep demanding that this must be done. In conclusion, SCOPA recommends that all executing authorities must table progress reports to the House on quarterly basis, starting from the 31st of August 2025. We further recommend that all the executing authorities must brief SCOPA and all the portfolio committees quarterly until all the resolutions are fully implemented. We therefore move for the adoption of the report, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Chair, I suggest that you don't go back to your seat so that we can proceed to the next item while you're still here, because the response will come later when all the debates are done. We'll now proceed in terms of the order paper to 7.2, where consideration of the reports of the following reports of the Standing Committee by Public Accounts Committee Chair, Mayor Esther Mukweli. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the following reports on SCOPA, the report on the Auditor-General on transversal issues for vote 1, Office of the Premier, and vote 5, Provincial Treasury, for adoption for the 2023-2024 financial years. We move.
Seconder, Honorable Mohali.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second the reports as presented by the chairperson of SCOPA.
So much. The chair must proceed. Yes, you're not finished. Why is she sitting down? One. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was confusing it with 7.3. I apologize. Thank you so much. We'll now go to the speakers list. In the speakers list, Honorable Machete is the one that opened the debate. Honorable Petule Pesi Machete, PP, and is allowed to debate where he's sitting because of the special treatment we have to offer to him. You are welcome, Honorable Machete.
Thanks very much. Let me take this opportunity to greet your good self, Dr. Makrupechi, Honorable Premier Dr. Ramatuba in absentia, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Chair of Chairs, Leader of the Opposition Parties, Leader of Government Business, Honorable Members, comrades and friends. I want to take this opportunity to engage on the set as proposed by the chair and your good self, Honorable Speaker. Of course, the debate will also try to be simplistic to try and cover those that may not be able to understand the technical aspects of the administrators. We will try to do that in the course of presentation. The committee considered that the transversal report by provincial indicated the following positive trends of a reduction in all unwanted expenditures from the 31st July 2023 to 31st December 2024. We will have to clarify what is an expenditure for purposes of understanding. That is money spent in simple terms. But of course, the unauthorized expenditure has been reduced by 5.539 million. Irregular expenditure has been reduced by a net of 5.478 billion from 18.684 billion to 13.205 billion. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure has been reduced by 125.940 million. It's important that we should also provide an understanding of what an irregular expenditure is. And from where we are, irregular expenditure is spending or expenses that do not comply with relevant laws, regulation, and policies. Unauthorized expenditure occurs when government, departments, or institutions spend more than their allocated budget. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure will also speak to spending that is made and could have been avoided had reasonable care been taken. So we thought it's important that we should not become too much sophisticated in the description of the concept for the purposes of the viewers at home. However, we noted that not all matters raised were resolved. The committee recommended that both the Office of the Premier and the Provincial Treasurer assist all the provincial departments and public entities in regularizing and clearing the irregular expenditure, recovering all the fruitless and wasteful expenditure, as well as authorizing unauthorized expenditure. The committee further recommended that the executing authorities of both the Office of the Premier and Provincial Treasury must report to the Portfolio Committee on both Provincial Treasury and Public Administration every quarter with effect from 1 April 2024. And we must also provide an understanding of what is the Office of the Premier. The Office of the Premier is that government department that provides leadership and support in the provincial administration. Treasury is that department of government that is responsible for the financial affairs of the province. Very important for others to understand some of these things. The committee noted with concern that departments were facing challenges when preparing annual financial statement. This function is mainly performed by the Treasury. The Provincial Treasury provides financial management training to all departments and particularly on any changes. The trainings provided were not in line with what the committee recommended. In this regard, the committee recommended that both the Office of the Premier and Provincial Treasury conduct financial training courses with all chief financial officers and personnel in the financial sections in the Limpopo Provincial Administration. We should also provide an understanding of what an annual financial statement is. It's just an overview of a financial performance in a department. Although the report by Treasury provided details that indicate an improvement in the general performance of the provincial government, there is no indication that the departments and public entities are preparing annual financial statement in line with the reporting framework. Matters raised by the Auditor-General of South Africa were not fully resolved by departments. The committee further recommended that both the Office of the Premier and Provincial Treasury The committee further recommended that both the Office of the Premier and Provincial Treasury ensures that financial statement submitted for auditing by all the departments and entities in the Limpopo Provincial Administration are prepared following the prescribed financial reporting framework. At a particular time, we'll be able to distinguish what is a provincial administration and what is a provincial government. The committee noted that Provincial Treasury developed a 2025 revised clean audit support and improvement strategy approved by EXCO on 30 November 2024 through EXCO Decision 33 of 2024-2025. The Provincial Treasury must put in place measures that will assist departments to achieve an qualified audit without material misstatement. An audit is just a general examination. Material misstatement refers to errors or inaccuracies in a financial statement. Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that our public entities were not performing satisfactorily. At some point, they were draining the public funds and not showing signs of improvement towards contributing to economic growth. Great North Transport had serious challenges that threatened the livelihood of its pensioners. It was reported that a decision to liquidate the pension fund of GNT was taken in 2017. Out of 1,163 members of the fund, 996 claims have been processed. 376 members' files were transferred to Fed Group's unclaimed fund division. 209 files were processed. 13 members have been identified and advised to submit claims to the fund, with the remaining 167 files not yet processed. An actuary has been appointed to investigate the matter further. The HOD of Lidet has opened a case number as read there with Polokwane South African Police Service as recommended in the initial BDO investigation report. The House may refer to Annex 7, liquidation on GNT pension fund. The committee recommended that the executing authorities of both the Office of the Premier and Provincial Treasury must ensure that all employees and or the dependents of Great North Transport receive their pensions in full and brief the Portfolio Committee on Transport and Committee Safety on quarterly basis with effect from 1st of April 2024. The committee noted a report that Provincial Treasury developed board recruitment and remuneration policies, which were approved by the Executive Council and were signed by the HOD of Provincial Treasury on the 6th of June 2024. The committee further noted that the policies were not implemented in full by some entities. The committee recommended that the Office of the Premier and Treasury must ensure that policies and procedures developed on the uniform appointment, remuneration, and performance of the Board of Directors in the public entities must be implemented in full. I therefore take this opportunity to support the adoption of the transversal reports with recommendation by the SCOPA. Thanks very much.
We know we are very impressed, Honorable Machet, that even when you don't see the timing there, you still work within your time. Well done. Ralebo. Unlike those that have got the opportunity, they miss the time when they are looking at the timer there. Thank you so much. We'll now proceed to Honorable Wilson.
Thank you, Speaker, again on behalf of the Honourable Smuller. Speaker, it is insightful that we consider two SCOPA transversal reports across 2 financial years in the same week. It allows us to track trends, but regrettably, this is not a good story to tell. The 2024 report paints a darker, more urgent picture than last year's. The core problems, the lack of consequence management, poor audit outcomes, institutional incapacity, and the disregard and lack of political will to give effect to SCOPA resolutions and reform are not only persisting, but worsening. The report before us confirms a pattern of systematic stagnation, indeed a hardening against reform. It reflects a deepening disregard for SCOPA's authority, with Treasury and the Office of the Premier having made no meaningful progress on audit outcomes or financial oversight since the last report. It is deeply concerning that the report must again highlight the widespread failure to implement SCOPA resolutions adopted by this House. This reinforces the perception that SCOPA is not taken seriously. And worse, that the authority of this House is being willfully ignored by both the provincial administration and its executive. The report further exposes the near total absence of consequence management. Forensic reports are routinely ignored, and disciplinary action is rarely taken, or wholly misaligned with the seriousness of the offence. Worryingly, Treasury is failing in its duty to monitor, enforce, or even assess quarterly progress on resolutions. This undermines its PFMA, mandated oversight function. You have your hands full, MEC of Treasury. Despite this House's 2021-22 resolution to stop funding GAL and LEADER, both continue to receive allocations. It is a sad day when SCOPA must repeat this instruction. It points to a total breakdown in executive compliance and a clear political unwillingness to dismantle failing entities. Entities like LEADER and GNT have become fiscal black holes, draining resources without delivering value, keeping in mind that this is public funds that we use. LEADER in particular continues to be flagged for chronic governance failures. It is even more disturbing that SCOPA must now recommend that all employees and dependents of Great North Transport be paid their pensions in full, something that should never have required intervention from this committee in the first place. It is not merely a technical lapse, it is a governance crisis. Without your political will, both Madam Premier, in abstention, Madam Premier, and that of your executive, without capacitating Treasury, enforcing discipline, and urgently reforming administration, particularly in Costa and Lidet, these failures will continue unchecked. The only intervention that may remain, and we really don't want to go there if there is no provincial intervention, is to ask for national intervention. And we are seeing actions already being taken by the Minister of Finance on some of our municipalities. Speaker, SCOPA is the last line of oversight, but it cannot substitute for decisive executive action. If we are to restore institutional credibility, public trust, and fiscal discipline in Limpopo, the recommendations of this report must be implemented urgently, consistently, and without fear or favor. The people of Limpopo deserve better than institutional paralysis and impunity. They deserve clean governance, competent leadership, and ethical public administration. In supporting the adoption of this transversal report and its recommendations, we as the DA make it clear. We hold you, Madam Premier, and your MECs accountable for their implementation. There can be no regression. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much. The TA, Honorable Wilson, and we're just happy that you are supporting even the recommendations of the report. We'll now proceed to Honorable Machomani Makua Asnat. Those that do not know, Honorable Asnat Machoman is the chaplain. Is the chaplain. Ke moruti, as arma moruti, ke moruti. She has earned that title. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier on her absentia, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Deputy Chair of Chairs, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, leaders of businesses, leaders of opposition, member of the Provincial Legislature, guests and staff. Good morning, Khotso Magageshu. Ka leina la Kriste Jesu. The committee had and considered evidence that there were still officials who continued to conduct businesses with the state intercontravention with the Section 30 of Public Service Act 1994, which prohibits unprofessional and unethical conduct and behavior among public service employees, and thus weaken control system of Limpopo Provincial Administration. The committee recommended that the executing authorities of both of the Office of the Premier and the Provincial Treasury must ensure that all the accounting officers take appropriate action against officials and recover all the money that was earned irregularly. The committee noted that the department investigated case of officials who were alleged to have conduct business with the state and take appropriate action against them. Madam Speaker, the following are the summary of cases received as at 28th of February 2025. The committee also noted that the number of employees alleged to be involved were 44. The investigation were concluded and 28 employees were found to have transgressed. The department were able to institute consequences management. One employee was cleared and 15 employees' cases are reported to be in progress. The departments that were affected were Limpopo Provincial Treasury, Health, and Education.
The committee recommended that both the Office of the Premier and Provincial Treasury must ensure that all accounting officers and accounting authorities put in place measures that prohibit any government employee from conducting businesses with the state in line with the section of the Public Administration Management Act. Madam Speaker, during engagement with departments, the committee noted that some of the departments and public entities, in particular the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, could not properly account for movable and immovable capital assets as required by Section 38 of subsection 1, subsection D of the PFMA. Speaker, the committee emphasized on this matter because it recurs from previous financial year and the department must ensure that assets of the state are secured and recorded. The committee recommended that the executing authorities must ensure that accounting officers and accounting authorities train their staff in assets management in line with Section 38 of subsection 1, subsection D of the PFMA. The committee further recommended that the executive authorities must ensure that the accounting officer and accounting authorities put mechanisms in place to avoid the recurrence of this anomaly. The committee has observed with a concern during public hearing that the rate of funded posts in various departments and entities was very high in violation of the Public Service Regulation 65, read with the Employment Management. Circular 38 of 2020, as issued by the Department of Public Services and Administration. The situation has caused the departments and public entities not to perform to their maximum level. The committee recommended that the executing authorities must identify all funded vacant positions and ensure that the accounting officers and accounting authorities advertise and fill all funded vacant positions as a matter of urgency in line with Public Service Regulation 65, read with Employment Management. Circular 38 of 2020 as issued by the Department of Public Service and Administration. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee further recommended that the executing authorities must put mechanisms in place to avoid a recurrence of this anomaly. The committee supports the adoption of the reports with all recommendations. Thank you very much, Ngaka. Me, Makurupech.
Thank you so much. Now I'll always call you my chaplain. Until others see you on the platform, they will realize why I'm calling you that name, chaplain. Thank you, chaplain Asnat Machoman. And we're calling for others who are in the field to avail themselves so that we can know what other chaplains that we have in the legislature. Thank you so much. We'll now proceed to the next speaker. Unfortunately, the EFF is not here. We'll now call the chair, Honorable Me Mukwele, to come and close the debate.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thanks for the hands. Honorable Speaker, on transversal issues, some of them were raised in the 2022-2023 reports and are still repeated in the 2023-2024 and have also been outlined by other honorable members as they were debating. So we are just going to mention them for emphasis, but we believe that what the committee has resolved on has been indicated and is very clear. The first issue is on the vacancy list rate in the province, which is very high. And we want to say we applaud the Premier for appointing the accounting officers in vote 3, which is education, vote 4, agriculture and rural development, and vote 12. We believe that the appointment of these officials will make a difference in terms of making the department achieve the required or the desired audits. We also note that in the Department of Education, there are also appointments of second managers where there were vacancies. But we are still calling for the department to say these are not the only important vacancies that are there. There are so many vacancies within all the departments that if they can be filled, we believe that it can improve the capacity of our departments. On the AROPS, I think it was very clear that as SCOPA, we are saying action must be taken to ensure that the money is brought and consequence management is also instituted. The other issue is on the interdepartmental projects. In particular, in this case, we'll give an example of sports and education. We have observed over the years a gap that was created where there was no accountability. There was no person, an official who was taking responsibility of whatever was happening. But we are saying, with the intervention of the Premier, because we have seen that she has already started, let's strengthen that and close those gaps. The other interdepartmental issues that need also to be tightened is with the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, with all the departments as the implementing agency. Working together between the Department of Public Works will accelerate or will enhance the speedy completion of the projects that we are having, whether it will be a school, a library, or whatever. So let's work together and ensure that we complete the project on the time as stipulated. The other issue that is in the Department of, in the Office of the Premier and the Department of Treasury is the issue which is a concern of non-compliance with regulations. This is a widespread within all the departments. And if we can arrest this one, we must forget about the clean audits, because this is the basis of clean audits. This is the basis of good governance, followed by consequence management. It can never be overemphasized, but what we raise as a concern is when a department is transferring an official who has committed an irregularity and transfer that official to another department and say, we have written to that department to take consequence management. It's not possible. Already the case is weakened. I can't arrive in a department where I am seconded or I'm employed, and you start with the hearings. Where are you going to get evidence? So this is something that we need to check, Honorable Treasurer. You know the case. You had an official from your department. You were supposed to take action, you did not, and we are not sure if the Department of Public Works has taken that action. We're not sure. LEADET also, we've got an official from LEADET to, from leader to LEADET with irregular cases that were observed there. The PT must strengthen the capacity of the financial section with regards to the annual financial statement, proper information must be provided. On litigations, we have noted with concern the number of litigations within all the provincial departments. And we are saying SCOPA recommends that the OTP and the PT must compile and keep a register of all the litigations and a register of all the cases that are with the law enforcement agencies like the SIU, the Hawks, and the police with their case numbers, which will enable them to support the departments and clear all the backlogs in terms of cases. But we're also raising a concern with the state attorney, which seems not to have a capacity, whereby there are a lot of cases that are there. There is a lot of backlog, and this impact on the consequence management. Most of the departments are unable to continue with the consequence management because the cases are still with the state attorney. We want to see progress in resolving cases because departments are having a backlog in this case, and the OTP and the PT must assist in these regards. There is an issue of late payment of service providers, such as ESCOM, Telcom, and municipalities. The department, Honorable MEC Treasury, have raised the issue that the provincial run with the billing system of these entities are not the same. So we pay after they have issued their bills, and that makes a lot of irregular expenditure, the wasteful expenditure because of the interest. But I know that in the hearing you gave a different explanation, but we are saying, let that be arrested. Whatever responsibility is bestowed with, but it must be resolved. I want to explain, and maybe, Honorable Speaker, if you can just give me 1 extra minute, or I can just steal it because I know I may not be given. On the resolution, the 2021-2022 resolution on the 3D, I want to put it in correct perspective so that it is understood and it should be implemented as such. That resolution 5 is saying we are not going to fund LEADER and GAL because they are the 3D and they are supposed to generate their own revenue. And please, can you listen carefully? LEADER and GAL, they are the institutions that are very important in generating, in developing of the province and job creation and all those things. We are saying as SCOPA, we stand by the resolution. The resolution further says every quarter the leader through LEADET must come and present to SCOPA for assessment for paying, which effectively, in simple terms, every quarter, you will come and present, and we will assess progress. And if there is progress, then we'll continue because we'll be seeing what we want to address being in a way towards addressing that particular issue. We must work hard to ensure that we restore the dignity, we restore the main objective and the vision of the Limpopo government when they were establishing, in particular, LEADER to drive the economic development of the province. We therefore recommend to the House that we be given opportunity, or we be given dates quarterly to ensure that we discharge these responsibilities, because previously we were not having quarterly meetings, Honorable Speaker, and there was a resolution that LIDET must come and report. Where will they report if SCOPA were not given the days to do that function? So, and on top of that, we also need quarterly meetings to trace the implementation of House resolution. That one, Deputy Speaker, we request that we be considered as and when you are doing a program for the legislature, so that we fast track this thing and we bring the effectiveness of this institution. We therefore move for this report to be adopted. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Chair, you were 10 minutes on the dot. I did not have to give you any additional minute. Well done. You were 10 minutes on the dot, so I did not have to give you any. But I thought you were going to sit here so that we can proceed. Because we're doing the same way. As we jumped 7.1.11, we're now jumping 7.2.2. Then we'll now go directly straight to the 7.3.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The protocol still observed. We present for consideration and adoption the SCOPA reports on the Auditor-General on financial statements and reports, performance information on Limpopo Economic Development Agency for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Thanks. Any seconder? I'm looking for someone that I did not point. Honorable Shai.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. I rise to second the consideration and adoption of the report on the Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information of leader for the financial year ending 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We are presenting for consideration and adoption of the report on Auditor General on the financial statements and performance information on the Limpopo Tourism Agency for the year 2023-2024. We move.
Any seconder? Honorable, why did I now, my friend? Honorable Mhlobe, why do I forget my friend? My friend. I must pay during lunch.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the report as presented by the chairperson.
Sesame Mhlobe, I owe you a drink during lunch. Thank you so much. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General and on the financial statements and performance information of the Limpopo Gambling Board for 2023-2024.
Thank you so much. Any seconder? Buthobele baulwane.
Dokotela, Speaker, loko takuwa utikeza lukumedzwa lo dzinginyisiwaho nga mutshitulo wa SCOPA. Nda.
Ndende, Rolivo. Over to you, Chair.
Rollebuwa, Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statement and performance information on Gateway Airport Authority Limited for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
I've seen Honorable Mdaga was raising his hand and he told me why he couldn't come on time. Because today he was collecting his passport. Over to you, Honorable Mdaga.
Na kensa manana Dr. Speaker kuba minike xikadana lexi ni yimele ku seketela leswi boxiweke hi Hubyankulu vona manana Esther Mukwele leswaku leswi va swi vuleke swi seketeriwa hi yindlu leyi yo chaviseka swonghasi inkomu.
He can swinene. Thank you. Over to you, Chair.
Cancer, Honorable Speaker. We present for consideration and adoption the report on the Auditor General on the financial statement and performance information of Roads Agency Limpopo for the financial year 2023-2024. We move.
Thank you so much. I thought Honorable Max will raise his hand. I really wished that you raised and or our new member from UAT. Please, one of you help us finalize this one. Is the last one. Honorable Wilson.
Because I'm feeling very good today, I'll stand up to second the move. Thank you, Chairperson, Speaker.
You know, there is a reason that there is peace in the house. Because there are two people who are not here. Honorable Makamu and Honorable Mate. So they really make us to have peace in the house. We appreciate that Honorable Wilson is in peace today. Thank you so much. We now have to move to the speaker's list. The person who's opening the list is the one and soon to become an advocate. Honorable Thabo Mabucha. Not long we'll be calling him an advocate. We won't be having advocate Max alone. So the advocates will be increasing in the house. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Maybe just to correct you, I'm fine. I don't want to be an advocate. I'm an attorney. Greetings, Honorable Dr. Speaker, Mema Krupecha, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Mema Mrovela, Honorable members of the Executive Council, Chief Whip, the entire Whipari, Chair of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Memo Kwele, all members of this House, the DG, as well as the representatives from the AG, staff of the legislature, and guests and viewers at home. I rise before you today with both humility and determination to table for consideration and adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts on 5 critical provincial entities, that is, Limpopo Economic Development Agency, LEADER, Limpopo Tourism Agency, LTA, Limpopo Gambling Board, LGB, Gateway Airports Authority Limited, GAL, and the Roads Agency, Limpopo, RAL. Honorable members, Peter Drucker reminds us that culture is strategy for breakfast, which simply means that organizational culture is far more powerful than strategy when determining success, that no matter how brilliant or well-designed the strategy is, if the culture of the organization does not support it, the strategy is bound to fail. So it's up to us to determine which struggle we want to wage. Are we willing to change the culture? Otherwise, our strategy will not bear any results. These reports are not just technical audits, they are instruments of accountability, integrity, and governance. They tell us with clarity and precision where we are excelling and where we are failing. Honorable Speaker, I see these reports as evidence that must guide corrective action as well as strategic scorecards revealing the performance gaps and opportunities that can make or break our province economic and social development. Honorable Speaker, the report on LEADER is sobering. For 4 consecutive years, LEADER has been trapped in a qualified audit opinion with persistent matters of emphasis. Honorable Matib, this is not just poor performance. It is a structural and leadership failure that undermines its core mandate of stimulating economic development. LEADER has incurred 74 million in irregular expenditure and 17 million in fruitless and wasteful expenditure. These are not mere accounting figures. They represent businesses that were not supported and jobs that were not created. The failure of LEADER's subsidiary New Era Life, we're going to speak about it until it comes back home. New Era Life to account for 171 million in revenue due to inadequate records is not just unacceptable. It's a betrayal of the principles of transparency and accountability that govern public entities. Honorable Speaker, LEADER's situation reflects a SWOT analysis in crisis. Moreover, LEADER's decision to operate New Era offices from Sandton in Gauteng while serving Limpopo communities is strategically flawed and symbolically out of touch. We must start a new era and bring New Era back home, closer to the people it's meant to serve. A turnaround strategy aligned with Quarter's 8-step change model is non-negotiable. LEADER must realign its strategy, leadership, and operational culture to deliver results. Honorable members, amid these challenges, we must celebrate success where it shines. Both LGB and LTA have achieved clean audits. This achievement is not accidental. It is the result of visionary leadership, robust governance, and a culture of accountability. But, honorable members, clean audits are not the destination. They are just launch pads. We must challenge LGB and LTA to move from compliance to value creation. Using the balanced scorecard framework, this entity should align financial performance and customer satisfaction process excellence, and internal capacity building. They must innovate, mentor other entities, and scale their impact. Tourism under LTA stewardship remains one of Limpopo's greatest economic levers. By applying Potter's Diamond model, LTA can strengthen Limpopo's global tourism competitiveness, while a blue ocean strategy can open new markets, turning Limpopo into a destination of choice, not just locally, but internationally. We must dream bigger, and LTA has shown us that this can be done. Honorable members, the report on GAL, Mama Mati, is an agent wake-up call. GAL has recorded a deficit of 10.6 billion and has liabilities exceeding its asset by 16.9 billion. This is not just sustainable. If GAL was a private sector company, it will already be under business rescue. We cannot continue on this trajectory. From a strategic lens, GAL's problem lies in a broken value proposition. It lacks diversified revenue streams, operational efficiency, and financial discipline. We see GAL's competitive position is weak, its bargaining power limited, and its current strategy ineffective. To save GAL, we need a turnaround strategy that is rooted in cost optimization, revenue diversification, and strategic partnerships. This is not just a financial imperative, but an economic necessity. Limpopo's ability to attract trade, tourism, and investment depends on having a financial, functional, viable airport authority. We cannot afford for GAL to be anything less than a driver of economic connectivity. Honorable Speaker and MEC of the Kherekhere, maybe, Speaker, it is imperative that I make this submission here and now, that the great work in turning around the department by the executing authority is visible to those who'd like to see it. And the great work done by the Dikharakara program is massive, commendable, and it must be supported. However, the RAL report is equally troubling, MEC. With 2.15 billion in irregular expenditure, non-compliance with procurement processes, and the underspending of 90 million on provincial road management grant, RAL has failed to deliver on its most basic mandate and maintaining the infrastructure that underpins our economy. Dr. Speaker, infrastructure is not just about roads. It's about economic opportunities, safety, and dignity of our people. When roads are neglected, farmers cannot move produce. Businesses face higher logistical costs, and ordinary citizens suffer. For 8 consecutive years, RAL has failed to achieve a clean audit, signaling deep-rooted governance challenges. Through the lens of PESTEL analysis, RAL must navigate political expectations, economic constraints, social needs, technological advancements, environmental impacts, and legal obligations. Yet, year after year, it has fallen short. This cannot continue. Honorable members, let us never forget that every rand wasted is a life opportunity denied. It is the child who walks to school on a dangerous road because funds for repairs were mismanaged. I stress that the Public Management Act, Public Finance Management Act is not an optional, but is a legal framework designed to protect public funds and ensure accountability. In conclusion, Speaker, I want us to imagine a Limpopo where leader drives inclusive growth, where GAL is a thriving aviation hub, where RAL's roads connect every corner of our province, where LGB and LTA continue to set gold standard for governance. This is not a dream. It is achievable if we act with courage and agency. I so move. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our attorney in practice. Yeah, the attorney in practice, Honorable Mabucha. We now have to move to Honorable Wilson. Order in the house.
Thank you, Speaker. And just to clarify, I actually quite like it when the Honourable Makamu and Matthias in the House, because it makes this House exciting, and I like nothing more than a good fight. However, let's get back to the debate. I feel good today. My children are getting married this weekend. Thank you so much. Speaker, the report before us represents the last of the SCOPA reports to be considered and adopted by this House. At the start of the SCOPA debates, we as the DA pointed out that good governance fosters stability, prosperity, and justice. But bad governance, and we say it again, breeds instability, poverty, and division. That the principles that separate the two, accountability, transparency, responsibility, oversight, the rule of law, and effectiveness, amongst many others, are not optional ideas. They are constitutional imperatives enshrined by our Constitution and the laws that govern how we ought to govern. And if these values were truly upheld, Limpopo, 30 years into democracy, would not just be stable, it would be just and increasingly prosperous. Yet we are not. What is contained in the SCOPA report on Limpopo's entities is a story of what happens when governance fails. Leaders' audit outcomes reflect ongoing systematic governance failures, including failure to address historical audit findings, inadequate internal controls and very poor record keeping, non-implementation of SCOPA recommendations and audit action plans, ongoing litigation and contingent liabilities not properly being disclosed, irregular expenditure and non-compliance with the PFMA, and a complete absence of consequence management for financial misconduct. Leader represents the epicenter of fiscal indiscipline in Limpopo. Despite repeated findings and resolutions, the entity remains a state of administrative decay, with no visible efforts at reform. SCOPA's repeated resolutions to withhold funding have gone unheeded, exposing a failure of executive accountability and a disregard for the legislative authority of this House. Speaker, as the DA, we have constantly agitated for action on GNT. It was our efforts that led to the suspension of the CEO and CFO, and we were instrumental in SCOPA's call for a full inquiry into the entity. Likewise, we have been at the forefront of questioning the viability and sustainability of the MMSEZ, not to mention the malfeasance that has already occurred. It was shocking, yet also reassuring, to hear the chairperson of the Ledette Portfolio Committee say during recent budget debates, and I paraphrase, "The committee is concerned at the lack of progress with regards to the MMSEZ. We must ask, was the MMSEZ properly conceptualized? Were its feasibility studies realistic? And does the project remain viable under the current economic conditions? The matter requires urgent attention from the executive and oversight structures in this House." We support her sentiments totally. But Speaker, more is needed. The efficacy and continued existence of Leader itself must now be scrutinized. GOAL's disclaimer represents the worst possible audit outcome. GOAL remains a non-performing liability to the province. The disclaimer points to a collapse in basic financial governance. The continued funding of GOAL, despite prior SCOPA recommendations to hold transfers, illustrates executive disregard for fiscal prudence and legislative oversight. RAL's audit trajectory shows no improvement, despite being a core infrastructure delivery agency. The continued issues of procurement failures and contract mismanagement point to serious governance and service delivery failures, with little sign of remedial action by its shareholder, the Department of Public Works, Road and Infrastructure. Speaker, beyond the damaging policies rooted in the outdated Cold War ideologies, the work of the Auditor-General and SCOPA lays bare the collapse and rot in governance across Limpopo. Our people experience it daily in collapsing infrastructure, failing services, and rising poverty unemployment. We support the SCOPA reports and their recommendations and will hold this executive to account for its implementation. Thank you, Speaker.
5 minutes on the dot. Thank you so much. We now request our honorable member, Matlodi Caroline Mantata Mahasela, to come and proceed with the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Grace Makoma Makurupeji, the Honorable Premier in absentia, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Tewo Mamurobela Grace, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Asap Mukanyani, and the Whipari, Chair of Chairs, who is absent today, Deputy Chair, Honorable Ngobeni, leaders of opposition who is not in the House right now, leaders of government business, Honorable MEC B. Makamu, honorable members, Auditor Generals in the House, our guests in the gallery, I greet you. Honorable Speaker and honorable members of the departments. As SCOPA, our role is to ensure that public purse is used efficiently and effectively. Today, we want to encourage you to prioritize transparency, accountability, and value for money in your use of public funds. The Honorable the Speaker, the committee resolved in the financial year 2019 to 2020 on the audit outcomes of the 2017-2018 financial year that the 3D public entities, in particular GAL and LEADER, should wind off from the provincial fiscus and no longer receive funding from the state. The resolution should have been effected over the medium-term expenditure framework from the 2020 to 2021 financial year. The committee received a written submission from both the Office of the Premier and the Provincial Treasury requesting an extension of the two public entities to continue receiving funding until 2029-2030 financial years. And based on the submission made, the committee recommended that the 3D public entities, namely Gateway Airport Authority Limited and GAL, and Limpopo Economic Development Agency, which is LEADER, and its subsidiaries, be funded until 2024-2025 financial year. The committee noted that LEADER was allocated 834.6 million, which included 170 million to fund the business operations in LEADER, such as SMEs, development and training, trade, investment, and etc., etc. The allocation also included 103.3 million to GNT to procure buses as part of the turnaround strategy, and 143.8 million was provided to Fitakhomu to the industrial hub for capital projects and operational cost. Musena Makato SEZ, which is MMSEZ, was allocated 360 million for capital projects and 53.5 million for operation cost. It must be noted that the 360 million was recalled in the adjustment budget as there were no implementation challenges at the MMSEZ. It was reported further that the balance of 206.6 million of the 310 million agreed to procure buses for GNT turnaround strategy has been provided for in 2025 and 2026. 160.1 million has been provided to fund the capital projects and operational cost of the MMSEZ in 2025-2026, while 210.6 million also been provided to fund the Fitakhomu to Batse Industrial Hub in 2025-2026. So the 360 million capital budget surrendered by the MMSEZ will also be made available in 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that the province allocated a total of 227.0 million in 2024-2025 as agreed by the House, of which 53.0 million is for operational cost and 74.0 million for implementation of the GAL service delivery improvement plan. In the outer 2 years, only funds of the GAL service delivery improvement plan were provided. So it must be noted that GAL was instructed to surrender 37.6 million of the 2025 allocation for GAL service delivery improvement plan due to implementation challenges, and is reallocated
in 2025-2026 budget. Therefore, the committee recommended that both Gateway Airports Authority Limited, which is GAL, and Limpopo Economic Development Agency, which is LEADER, must on an annual basis submit satisfactory sustainability reports for further funding. Honorable Speaker, the committee further noted that the A3D Entities Technical Committee was established to provide an oversight on the implementation of financial sustainability plans by the 3D entities. The 3D Entities Technical Committee convenes on a quarterly basis to consider the entities' progress report. Through the self-sustainability progress reports submitted by LEADER and GAL, the committee noted that both LEADER and GAL will not be self-sustainable in 2025-2026, and there will be a need to allocate an amount of 207 million to LEADER to fund non-business operations and 55 million to fund the operational cost of GAL in 2025-2026. So the committee, Honorable Speaker, recommended that both Gateway Airport Authority Limited, which is GAL, and Limpopo Economic Development Agency, which is LEADER, must on an annual basis submit satisfactory sustainable report for further funding. So in conclusion, honorable members, let us strive to be responsible stewards of the public purse and to use our resources in the lives of those we serve. So in this note, honorable members and our honorable speaker, I encourage the House to adopt the report as presented with recommendations. I thank you.
Thank you so much as well for managing our time. You had 1 minute, 17 seconds left. So for that, we really appreciate. You can see that the chair is gaining a lot of minutes from you guys. So don't worry, even if you finish your 10 minutes, you still use the Honorable Mapolo's not here and the one that have saved minutes for you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. You can come and close the debate.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The protocol still remain observed. We are on our last report on entities, Honorable Speaker, and we are saying our public entities remain the drivers of the economy within our province. As we present today, we cannot confidently say that they are making a difference as expected. Both the Office of the Premier and the Office and the Provincial Treasury should put systems in place to assist both LEADER and GAL in establishing measures that could be adopted in generating revenues to enable the two institutions to be self-sustainable. We are talking about these two 3D because they are supposed to be making profit, but they are wholly dependent on the fiscus of the government. On LEADER, Honorable Speaker, I think the resolution is very clear that we are saying we recommend and we reaffirm the 2021-2022 Resolution 5 that leader and GAL are not funded from the fiscus in line with that resolution. But we further recommend that both GAL and leader must, on a quarterly basis, submit satisfactory sustainable report for further assessment and for further funding. We're further saying the committee recommends that the OTP must provide quarterly a progress report to SCOPA on the implementation of the developed sustainable strategies. Together as the oversight and accounting ecosystem, we will be able to assess if there's progress. And we believe with the intervention from the Premier and from the MEC that indeed there will be a progress until we get a leader and GAL right. We will continue to hold the Office of the Premier, the Provincial Treasury, and MEC debt accountable for the sake of the people of Limpopo with regards to leader and GAL. On overpayments of directors' fees, honorable members and honorable Speaker, the committee has noted with concern that the entity incurred overpayments, the leader, don't be confused, leader incurred overpayments of 667,000 to directors, which resulted in an irregular expenditure. The committee recommends that the executing authority must take appropriate action against the accounting authority for having incurred overpayment of 667,000. Furthermore, the committee recommends that the executing authority investigate how the entity incurred such overpayment. We further recommend that the executing authority must ensure the recovery of the overpayment amounting to 667,000 and from the responsible directors. The committee further recommends that the executing authority must put in place measures to prevent such occurrences. On Great North Transport, we welcome the decision by the to suspend top officials to allow investigations to take place. We also hope that this investigation will be concluded within the 3 months as envisaged. GNT remains an important asset for the province as it should provide reliable and safe public transport to the working class within the province. We further regret the inability of the company to pay the workers' benefits. We applaud the intervention by both the MEC and leader for intervening with the medical benefits of workers, which are now restored. SCOPA further recommends that the investigation into this issue should be done as a matter of urgency to avoid the recurrence of what happened with the unpaid pension funds of workers. On GAL, it has already been indicated that the committee has heard and considered evidence that the entity has incurred a deficit of 10 billion for the financial year ending 31 March 2024. Furthermore, the committee has considered evidence that the current liability exceeded its current asset by 16 billion. These events and conditions, along with other matters outlined in note 32, indicate that the material uncertainty existed that may cast significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as an ongoing concern. We therefore recommend that the executing authority must take appropriate action to the accounting authority We also recommend that the executing authority must also take appropriate action against the accounting authority for allowing this to happen, and also to put measures in place to ensure that this does not occur. We cannot overemphasize the issue of new era, that it must come back home. It must come back home and benefit the people of Limpopo. So the committee recommends that the executing authority must take practical steps to relocate the offices of New Era to the province. The committee further recommends that the executing authority must brief both SCOPA and Portfolio Committee on Transport and Community Safety, Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, and the Department of LIDET on quarterly basis with effect from the 1st of August 2025 until all the resolutions are resolved. Honorable Speaker, as we conclude, we believe that the matter raised in these reports will serve as important lessons which will assist us to achieve good governance. I'm sure, Honorable Speaker, that you know that I'm a teacher, and as a teacher, I teach, assess, give feedback, and monitor. What it means is that when you are given a task, as a teacher, will come and correct and highlight all the mistakes that you have made. And will also give you opportunity to make corrections. The only challenge where we'll start to fight is when you fail corrections. So we dare not fail corrections, because all our mistakes have been highlighted. What we must go and do is just to correct and improve our audit outcomes. We want to also congratulate for the 2023-2024 financial year, the OTP, PT, SEC, LTA, LGB for getting clean audits. LIDET has regressed. And remember 2022-2023 OTP and Treasury were also unqualified, now they moved. So we don't want a yo-yo situation where this year you are up, next year you are down, the other year you are up, just like that. So we call for consistency or for improving further. We don't want to, I think we have made a lot of progress for 2022-2023. We must never reverse that. Having 3 departments and 2 entities, we are looking forward to improve this thing, and we believe that we have got that capacity to do that. To the team SCOPA, we want to thank you for your hard work, for coming up with this report. We know that it might not be perfect, but we have done the best that we could to come up with this report, and we believe that going forward, we will be doing better than this, and even all the departments, please improve, because we must be in the improving mood all the time until we get this province right. We move. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. The House must be reminded that while the MEC and Tate Elias Khabu Mawai will be coming to respond on behalf of EXCO, the procedure is the full reports are signed off by the Speaker to the Premier and sent to the relevant departments. So each relevant department is going to find a full report of the details that affect that department. So you shouldn't think that you won't get that. Already I've signed off the ones that we debated last, when was it? Tuesday. Yeah. Already that has been signed off. So even these reports, you are going to find the full report signed off by the chair of SCOPA that indicates what are the resolutions per department. Over to you, Honorable Elias Khabo Mawai, to come and respond on behalf of the Premier of the province and all the departments. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Deputy Chair of Chairs, Honorable members of various portfolio committees, Honorable members in your different ranks and grades, Honorable Chair of SCOPA, on behalf of the Leader of Government Business and of the Premier, I'm not going to take long, and the last remark by the Speaker has actually saved me. What I can confirm today is that all the 2 years, which covers the 2 reports that have been given here, will definitely, the work that SCOPA has done has reached a point where we, the executive organ of the state, are in a position to deal with every matter that has been raised. Those recommendations have become House resolutions, and they will be signed off by the Speaker. And it will give effect to Section 114, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which mandates that the provincial legislature must establish mechanisms to ensure the accountability of professional executive organ of state and maintain oversight in their activities, including the implementation of legislations and the actions of any provincial organ of state. Without much ado, Honorable Speaker, we will give effect to this constitutional provision and accordingly ensure that we do what we have been directed to do in terms of the empowering legislation, which is the Constitution, and report on the frequency that has been included in the recommendations. I therefore submit, Honorable Speaker, that we have had, we will convey, we will do, and we will ensure that we respect the Constitution and the law in as far as these matters are concerned. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mawai. And like we've already said, that all the full reports will be signed off to the Premier, and the Premier will be disseminated to all the departments. So we will refer that shortly so that the departments knows, as when the chair of SCOPA says on a quarterly basis, you should report back, then you know what are the matters you'll be dealing with. We shall now go to item 8. Item 8 talk to the motion that is going to be presented by the Chief Whip on recess. And the definition of the recess in terms of the rules means a period determined by a resolution of the House during which there are no plenary meetings. Plenary means the sitting of the legislature. Over to you, Chief Whip. Oh, Whipper is here. Ms. Wapel, I apologize.
Honorable Speaker and honorable members, As a whip on parliamentary affairs and programming, I wish to announce that after consultation with the programming committee, it was decided that when this house rises today, it will go into recess and it will reconvene on Tuesday, the 12th August 2025 at 10 o'clock in this Leboa Khomu Legislative Chamber. So I move.
This was the good news I was telling you about. Is there any seconder? Any seconder to the good news, Honorable Mabucha? Oh, Honorable Max. Yeah, this side. Anyone can stand up. We now allow Honorable Max.
Speaker, if I may. Are you going to second it? You second it.
I'll second it. Thank you.
But there is another bad, which might not make others happy, because there are committees that have requested to sit. SCOPA have requested to sit. Standing Committee on Petitions have requested to sit. Unfortunately, between now and the 12th, and the Chair of Chairs has convened a meeting on the 30th, it's only those that have been approved by now. If there is any committee that their request was not approved by now, it means they will wait until the 12th. Because after the 12th is now that we'll resume with all the full work of the legislature. On that note, I wish you all the best. That let's relax a bit. It's unfortunate when you serve in SCOPA chair, you never have a holiday. I was telling the deputy chair of chairs that when I was a member of SCOPA, I would grumble all the time when they say SCOPA opens in January, when all other members opens on the 28th of February. So, but we appreciate the good work done by SCOPA. Well done. We are now up to date as the legislature of the work of their SCOPA. We have cleared the backlog that was there from the sixth administration. We are now on track. Keep up the good work that we are doing. We really appreciate the good work that you are doing. On that note, I will now hand over to presiding officers. Deputy Speaker, announcements.
Thank you very much, Madam Dr. Speaker. Greetings to the Deputy Chair of Chairs, and also greetings to the Chief Whip and the Whippery. And yeah, no, your volume is lower compared to Honorable Nkonyan. But let me greet the members of the executive and also the honorable members. Honorable members, you are reminded about the Mandela activities tomorrow in Wutlokwa. So those that have, put down your names to be part of the team, you must know that your coach is the chair of chairs and the deputy chair of chair. So I think deputy chair of chairs, they are not happy that you are part of that coach thing. But honorable members, you are reminded that tomorrow we'll have 3 activities. One, which is the fun walk, and the secondly, which is the handing over of in one of the centers. And then the third one, it will be the soccer tournaments, the soccer match, which will be happening between the MPLs and councillors. So we must not forget that our activities, honorable members, tomorrow, they will start at 8:30. Let's not forget that. And also the IT division will be at Parliamentary Village to assist honorable members with their tablets and the SIM cards today, honorable members. And also on Saturday, the 26th, from 8 o'clock until 2 o'clock. So today, starting in the afternoon, your IT people, they'll be there. Remember, there was a clinch with our iPads and phones, SIM cards.
So now that is fixed. So they are coming to put in the SIM cards that they've done SIM swap on that will start to operate on them. So all of you that are available today, Parliamentary Village in your houses, they will come to your houses, and also until Saturday. Those that are not available on Friday, Saturday is still a day for IT team to be assisting you on that note, honorable members. And I think that the last one is the lunch. Honorable members, all of us were invited to the committee boardroom. Thank you very much.
The chair of chairs is not here. He told me he's the coach tomorrow. And he expects us to win because if we come back beaten by Mole councillors. So want to appreciate the MECs who will be joining us. MEC Masego promised to come and do the walk and the soccer with us. MEC Radzilani, she has promised to come and be with us with the elderly because that falls within her department. As well, MEC Mabungu Lurulramakanye has promised to join us because the school of the that we are going to is her school. So those MECs as well are, so the municipality has already done a lot because when they heard that we are coming there, they've taken over a lot of responsibility to say they are the host. So they're doing this jointly as their Mandela Day as well. As that's why you've seen the joint poster and the joint statement. So members who are available, you are welcome. Tomorrow, aguna speaker rasa obofa ditukwana. We're all casual. On that note, honorable members, we now come to the end of the orders of the day and our proceedings today. The House is adjourned to Tuesday, 12 August 2025 at 10 o'clock in the Leboahomo Legislative Chamber. The House stands adjourned.